they're still crying at EA headquarters.
What are they crying about?
Dude,
Because
I'm sure they're
Kamala
fine.
didn't win.
Oh,
If
Honestly,
you
they
cannot
might be-
work at EA Sports and vote Trump, 100%.
somebody.
yeah,
did,
that's
though.
so the thing. No, I mean, what's funny about that, Paul, is like probably like the the lower anybody not in like the executive level. All those executives definitely in California want Trump in office.
Fuck yeah,
This
they
is so
instantly
much-
got rich. They already got rich overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of no. The yeah, anybody that works at a company that wants to make money is happy that
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
that like trying to like appease shareholders. The fact that interest rates are going to go down. Not that it was going to happen even with him or without, but like that bump is giving these guys a lot of favor here.
Like not to get all political, but just because we're waiting for Mets, just having a chat voice. But what I don't understand about the business side of things is how these guys are pro business. You know, they're excited because they made all kind of money with the new policies that they're expecting. But why do so many of them come out and support the other side? That's what I don't understand. It's like they're ashamed.
Well, it's in
I guess
optics.
they don't want people to know that they're excited about
Dirty
getting
dark
filthy
secret,
rich.
innit? You can't be seen to align yourself with a fascist, racist, homophobe.
Right. Which, yeah. Which is in mode to say, and of course, you know, like, and especially when you're in those spheres where like image is really important, right? You know, it is great to align with some of the stuff that's said from our party that tries to be progressive, but it's like, okay, well, at what point are we? At what point is progressive manufactured? Like,
It's
I
not
feel like we
progressive, is
maybe
it? They
saw
don't
that.
give it the Democrats don't give a shit about the people on the street. Like it's all about how you look
Well, they want 'em to
on
vote.
socials,
Hey.
and you know.
Gavin Newsom cleaned up the streets before Xi Jinping came to town.
Of course he did. You clean your house when people are coming to visit, right?
He'll probably. I mean, he'll probably run with our little the Khan from Illinois as his VP probably next time. They're not parading. They found. And I know this is being recorded, but I do stand by this. They realize that they can't parade around someone that's not a white male for a little while.
There's always one in the party, no matter what, right? Whether it's the VP or
Yeah,
or
but
the
at the
P.
same time, it's like it's probably, and you know, it's probably better that they had that. I mean, if you look at some of the messaging around and like the advertisement was not, and the staffers that are on the Democratic Party, and you know, people are always scrambling for answers when you lose, right? But they look at that and it's like, okay, well, there wasn't representation for the largest voting group in the United States, and it's just that's negligent. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to like we can talk about diversity and everything like that, and that is something that absolutely that I'm a pro having a discussion about. But you know, at what like are you sacrificing?
at what cost?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
right.
and it didn't even work anyway because they lost a lot of the Latino or Latinx vote, whatever.
No, don't call them Latinx. That's why they voted for Republican.
Right?
They hate that. They hate that
Yeah,
term.
What is this? I don't even know what you guys are
The
talking about.
Latinx.
Latinx.
versus
So it's
Latino,
like
Latino.
the white left have created this term, and
Yeah, which is
the
hilarious.
Latinos don't even like it.
Well,
like-
because Latinx groups, not that the Latinos also doesn't do this in a sense, but like Latinx groups all of them together, and it's like, what do you like? We have some very proud nations that encompasses there. That it's like on a similar level, grouping all Asians together and whatnot.
And some of those fuckers hate each other. They're like, I am not being put in the same group as those guys.
Yeah.
No, I would love for Paul to. I mean, not that England doesn't have, you know, you absolutely have some diversity over there. I'm not saying that you don't, especially with African migrants or whatnot. But like, can you imagine Paul coming over here and trying to tell the difference between a Mexican, a Puerto Rican, a Guatemalan, a Venezuelan?
Oh, I'm on it. Listen,
can't even do
it's
it.
like you don't
I know you can't. Yeah,
I'm
right.
from
I mean,
I'm
it's
from
hard.
Bradford, which is probably one of the most multicultural cities in the UK.
Oh, okay.
So I will tell you the difference between a Pakistani, an Indian,
Nah, there you go. Yeah, you guys
Bangladesh,
have a lot more
like-
Middle East. Yeah.
like even like the small little differences between areas of Afghanistan and Pakistan and all that. Like Bradford's very brown.
Yeah. No, it's hard. I mean, like, and so when you constantly make something like you're constantly making these divisions of race and ethnicity and whatnot, it's hard. It's hard to get lost. It's not hard. It's easy to get lost in what actually what matters, what doesn't matter, what's good for representation,
Yeah.
what is a good distinction for these individuals. But then, like Hunter mentioned, at the end of the day, though, it also boils down to well, there are large overarching things that the United States as Americans we wanted addressed, regardless of what color, creed,
Yeah.
religion, or sexual orientation we had. And there is some stuff about, okay,
Yeah.
you know, I don't feel like the economy is better. I mean, on one hand it is, but prices aren't better. It's like, okay, well,
No,
we can
no, no,
address that. And sure, I'm not. I don't know if I'm not a big fan of tariffs. Like that's not the right answer. That said, I'm a little bit more for pro business, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm for less regulation on some things, not less regulation on the environmental things like you guys deal with down there, Hunter. But up in the north, we don't have to deal with the fact that like people are digging for fucking oil. But,
Yeah. And
like I can't speak to that. Hunter could speak to it. Our country's so big.
you can't run on identity politics now because people are just so tired of it. Like,
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
that
You're spot
cannot
on.
be your be all and end all. People want to know next year when I buy my house, am I going to be able to afford it? Or, am I going to be able to put gas in both my cars instead of just one because at the moment I can't afford to put fuel in my car? That's the issue with a lot of these politicians. They're so detached from what your everyday people want. And even now you see it. And I watch a British politics podcast that has been covering the election. And even now, they're talking about how dumb people were for voting. And I think that was your fucking problem. That's been your problem for the last 8 years. You're calling half the country dumb for voting Trump. And
No, yeah, you do, yeah.
Yeah.
and I think,
No, well, the
to be
people
honest,
that
you
are, the
could
people
have
that
put
are like,
anybody there instead of Trump and probably still got a win. But
which is an exciting.
he feeds
prospect
into
for
that.
us.
He knows he's not an idiot. He
Well,
knows.
both of our political parties have hitched their wagons to these show ponies that they think they need to. That they need to have these people to win. You need to have someone that has a legacy with Obama to win in the Democratic Party, and you have Trump. You need to have someone like Trump to win in the Republican Party. And it's like, okay, well, 4 years from now, figure this fuck out because that's not the case. That isn't the case anymore. Like there are things that the American people have said that are important to them. And to your point, Paul, we've been identity politics worked in 2008. It doesn't work now when we've been, a country that I'd like to think, and I would pretty confidently say is in a much better position of being accepting and tolerant, regardless of what the rhetoric is about, Trump voters, because that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But you can't run on that 8 years in a row because if you're not seeing any progress, what is the progressive side pushing? But they have to walk a tight line there, and it's like, no. We've seen progress on these issues. Now you have to find these littler ones, and it's like that littler issue isn't as important as, to your point, Paul, paying for gas, paying for a mortgage.
Yeah, it's big business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's big business, is identity politics. And I think if they're not talking about that, what else are they need to find something else to talk about. And those are the issues that people are facing on a daily basis.
Right, and it's not yelling at the other side and calling the other side stupid.
Exactly that.
Right?
That's exactly what I feel like the Harris campaign was, though. It wasn't about my policy is going to be this, and this is how we're going to get there. Her policy was, if you vote for Trump, you're a racist, Nazi, homophobe.
Yeah. Well, they even brought
you just called 74 million Americans Nazis. Like,
yeah.
What do you expect? I mean,
yeah. And that's
They
74
even
million
wheeled
Americans
Obama
that are
out
just
last
white.
week, repeating
I was
stuff about
surprised
Trump.
he did that because Obama's usually
There's
calculated.
been
I'm shocked he did
debunked,
that.
like time ago. We're talking about
The January 6th stuff.
the Charlottesville.
Oh, the Charlottesville, the both sides. Yeah, if you
both
watch
sides
that
thing,
video,
which
yeah.
has been debunked, and he came out and repeated it last week. You're like, what are you doing? Like, but the thing is, and I heard somebody say this the other day, a lot of sort of low information voters still believe that stuff because it was pushed out by so many media outlets.
Yeah, no, the vast majority of Americans are low information or easy media consumption. But regardless of what their true education background is, people as humans are still very, what's in front of me is the most convenient thing for me to look at. And if I get it pushed to me enough times, regardless of if it's Elon and or if it's very left. I'm going to start believing it at some point.
Mets, you walked into a sidebar conversation. We just decided to push something out to the Patreons, and it got into the usual unspeakable topic. But I saw some
Our
interesting
next guest
stats.
is Ben Shapiro.
I can't talk as fast as Ben Shapiro can.
He really does. Yeah,
What I saw on NBC today, they had some exit poll stats, and the data suggested that people with lower education, as far as like high school graduates or below, tended to vote more Trump, and people who had bachelors and up tended to vote Harris. But the media took that as Trump voters are uneducated, and that's how they said it. They
Nothing
came
to
out and
do
said
with the socioeconomic reasons for it whatsoever.
uneducated voters are voting for Trump. So basically, you called 74 million people stupid, homophobic, racist assholes.
And I mean,
So,
like,
what'd you expect to see?
Yeah, then I also think that America is at a crossroads in terms, especially with generation shifts, where our parents, or at least my parents, and probably even yours, Hunter, too. When I know we're a little bit age gap, but not. But college was pushed as like a dream for people, or like not even a dream. Like you needed to go to college to succeed and whatnot. But I don't think that that'll be the same rhetoric for our children.
No.
And so, like, because we have this tie still, where it's like if you don't get a college degree, you're not educated, you're not worldly, you don't know what you're talking about, and it's like, okay, well, no, there's plenty of things that people can experience without this bachelor's degree that makes them just as an informed individual. And don't get me wrong, like it's important to have people that are through education, you feel empowered, and then you can go do your research and maybe have a little bit more knowledge about what are reputable sources and what aren't. That said, like, just because you don't go to college doesn't mean that you can't develop those skills over time.
Yeah.
And
You don't go to college, you're stupid.
It depends what you
That's
get a
what they've been
degree
saying,
in as
that's-
well, don't it? The social science stuff, a lot of it has gone wild in the US, but it sounds of it like it's not teaching people much of value.
No. Yeah, no, you have to, like, regardless of where you end up, yeah, precisely. But as long, the whole part of that is making sure you can garner some critical thinking skills, right? Because then you can apply, that's a transitive thing that you can apply whatever you want to do in life. And sometimes it doesn't. Like some institutions are better than others. Some people are better than others about getting that if they're studying, right? Like you always, what the major that people rip on is art history, right? Or something like that. And it's like, no, there's some really tangible things that are important about learning about history and human interactions, human patterns or whatnot. But at the same time, just because you get a college degree there doesn't mean that you're informed on all of the other aspects of life, like economics and whatnot. You need to make sure you're doing your research and diligence on that anyways. And someone that has owned their own lawn care business and dropped out of college might, at 17, might actually know more about that than you. That said, maybe they don't know more about the transgender person down the street, but no. We'll see. I'll get off the soapbox here. It's also tough to see.
I'm not taking that bait.
Yeah, the social. Yeah.
I wanted to.
Why he's just dangling it there.
I was like,
on his way out the door, lobbed the hand grenade into the room and ran the fuck off.
The thing is with that stuff, a lot of people are just like, I'll treat the person by the quality of their character rather than anything else. Do you know what I mean? And people get pigeonholed, don't they? And life isn't like that. Like, people are people. Like, you're a dickhead or you're not, and varying levels in between. And I feel like the Harris campaign was very much like,
it was a fear-mongering campaign.
not understanding that, or not acknowledging that at all. Like, just these are bigots and these are racists. We're the good guys. Follow us. We don't tell lies. We don't, yeah.
I'll have a theory, and we'll end it on this, but I have a theory that we all kind of know that they pulled a fast one on Joe Biden. They basically forced him out. He clearly didn't want to leave. So they staged a coup, got everybody involved, shoot him out. I think the garbage comment was purpose. He did it knowing it would help Trump supporters, and I think he fucking voted for Trump.
I was gonna say
My favorite Trump hat thing, and then his wife going to vote.
They both wore red.
My favorite.
They basically said, "You want to fuck? Here we go." Let's fucking play.
My favorite thing that came from the election is exactly that. I think, and this is a fun conspiracy theory. Sadly, our United States politics is marred by a lot of unfun and dangerous conspiracy theories. But I think Joe Biden voted for Trump too.
100%. Just to spite his fucking
I think he did. He and a lot of other white males, not necessarily commenting on how we voted, but like that. Just falling right into the category that their shining knight was who they hated the most.
His wife was raging, apparently. Jill Biden was absolutely raging. She will have dragged him down there, saying, you are voting for Trump and you're doing it now. Come on.
She wore a red dress. Or a red pantsuit or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
Pretty well. You know what I noticed too? I said I was going to end it, but Louisiana, the state that I live in right now, they have voted red every election the last 100 years.
What do you guys got going on down there? What's in the water?
Don't worry about what's going on down here, Wise. You don't want to see what's going on down here.
I do not want to see. No.
Ask too many questions, Wise. You'll get yourself shot talking like that.
Get a one-way ticket.
A lot of people got some guns down there, and a lot of swampland that I'll go missing for sure.
What they say in Yellowstone? We'll take you to the train station.
A lot of gators down there. They'll just eat you up.
All right.
Did you watch Yellowstone last night, Hunter?
I didn't. I had to work last night. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
I still got to catch up on season 5.
Yellowstone's back.
Yeah, it premiered last night. Costner's not in it though.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey is it?
No, is he really?
Hey. Guys, fuck this podcast. I'm off to watch Yellowstone.
Is it really? It's not really Matthew McConaughey, is it?
No, I think they've done a spin-off with McConaughey.
Yeah, he's coming up in that because they did the 1883, which is pretty decent, and then the 1923, which is also pretty decent.
Could you imagine?
All the spin-offs have been phenomenal
milk those
as
cows
well.
over there and then round up them horses and bring them out back. Like,
it's just so funny because like people look at that and probably think that's what you look like, and it's just you're so far from the ranch personality. Like right? Like Hunter looks like he could be a ranch hand, but that homie ain't there.
No, we ain't about that life. I'm built for games, not baling hay.
Speaking of games,
I knew I was going to get one eventually.
Is that an intro to the pod, or were we just fucking around?
No.
Yeah, we went from politics to Biden's coup to Yellowstone to FIFA.
Wow.
That was impressive, wasn't it?
That was?
The whole spectrum.
Yeah. On the spectrum. Definitely. Yeah. So there was some decisions made this week or this past week that I think a few of us probably think were made by people who were out on the spectrum. Can I not say that?
Shit.
What? I mean, it's either a sign of desperation or just they really just wanted to try some weird shit. But
I think it's the latter. I think. I mean,
I don't think there's anything desperate about this. I think it's quite a considered play, and the start of a different direction they're going to start going. I mean, look how much engagement it's driven up, and people don't get to really own anything. They've devalued their clubs massively, and nothing's more hype than a card you won't be able to use after a couple of days, right?
Yeah. I'm wondering if they did it to see if better cards improves the game. Like, does anything different to the game?
Made my team feel like shit.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on what player you're using.
It were wild out there, but in amongst that, some of it were absolutely brilliant. I picked Bon Matty from the women's team, and she was phenomenal. A technical dribbling, a shooting, a passing. It was just great.
I wish I'd chosen her. I had the opportunity.
I feel like we should go through. I feel like we should go through and say who
else did you pick, Paul?
Mbappe.
You fucking rat.
Scum.
Scummy ass motherfucker.
If you didn't pick Mbappe, who the fuck are you going to pick?
I also
Sophia
picked Mbappe.
Smith.
I picked her on my second
separate
account, actually. Fucking hell.
So, Wise, you picked who? Mbappe and who?
Mbappe and Trinity Rodman.
I was curious about that one. How is she? Is she good?
She's fucking filthy. She was she was strictly a super sub, and she was very good. Really good for me.
Wait. A super sub?
Yeah, I mean, you sub her on in
95
like
Trinity Rodman was a super sub.
yeah, you sub her on. Not that I have better players in the positions, I just couldn't link her with chemistry. Sub her on in like the 60th minute, and she was just better than everybody. Everybody else was gassed.
That's a high IQ move. That when the defenders are tired, and it's a really tight game, and then you bring Rodman off the bench, I'd be raging.
Game
if I'd
over,
just been
rage,
grinding
just
out
quit.
for 60 minutes trying to stop Wise from scoring, and then he brings on Trinity Rodman, I'd just quit. I'd be like, "Ah, fuck you, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What right before he gets the go ahead goal. Mets, who did you pick?
Vinny and is it Graham Hansen? Whatever the fuck her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it
Dude,
Hansen
those
Graham? I forget which way around it is.
Hanson.
Because they would both slip very easily into the team I already had without me having to make any additional signings, which appealed given how crazy the market got over the weekend. And they're good, obviously. I can't say that they made it an enormous amount of difference in terms of the results I was getting, because it just felt like, well, literally everyone else obviously had massive upgrades. Not just the loans, but most people were improving their teams to try and bridge the gap, for lack of a better word. So it felt like the difficulty factor went through the roof, which then kind of spoils the whole, well, what's the point of me having these couple of game changers when they're not as impactful as the promotion would have you think they would be. And that was my concern as soon as you guys told me the news about what was going on here, and it eventually dragged me off of Black Ops 6 to come check it out, is that because everyone was getting a couple of these, then essentially no one was in terms of the upgrade. Everyone got upgraded kind of the same. Okay, maybe you would argue Mbappe slightly better than whoever, but generally speaking, we all got a couple of megastar players. So all it did was just tickle the arsehole off of the market. It didn't really, I don't think, enhanced anyone's like gameplay experience. Certainly no one got an advantage unless they could afford to upgrade the squad to go with those additional 2 lone players. So it just created a lot of short-term chaos. And as much as I had fun with those 2 cards, I won't miss them. Like, I'm not a 5-star skiller, so having a Vinny type player is kind of lost on me a little bit. But I really wish I'd picked Bon Mati, because every time I played against her, she wrecked. Like she felt like Rodri in terms of being able to keep you off the ball, but then had all the agility and skill and quick movement of a player of her diminutive stature. Probably one of the best cards I've encountered in the game. Maybe
Very
even the
slippery.
best at this stage.
Yeah,
Very,
such
very
a pain.
cool card. I really wish I'd
Yeah.
gone for her, but alas, I'll hand over to someone else. But that was my experience of things.
I thought I was going to do a high IQ move, and I already had gold Saliba and Sophia Smith, the gold one, in my team. So I picked Sophia Smith and Saliba. I wanted to see what the real difference was. But I mainly picked Saliba because I knew I was going to come up against Mbappe every fucking game. And it paid off because Mbappe was basically canceled out by Saliba. Saliba is a fucking monster card. He made Virgil van Dijk feel small. He's that good. Yeah, but it's like I said, it's a shame they won't be in the game. We'll get similar cards, I'm sure. Probably, Team of the Year-ish?
Yeah.
But that Sophia Smith card, I know I fucking rant and rave about her every week, but that 95, she got the sauce.
Yeah.
I mean,
Better than Mbappe. I made a second account
Feels
just to have a
way
mess
better.
about, and I picked Saliba and Smith, and man, she was just so fast, so much faster than everyone. Her shooting was absolutely phenomenal. The ball just sticks to her feet.
Yep.
Like defenders are coming in and trying to tackle, and she's just walking past them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Saliba card is. It reminded me of like at Team of the Year when you buy one of those big defenders, and they're just so much better. But at this stage, it was like it didn't really matter. You could just defend with Saliba and just go chasing somebody down because you'd get the ball. You were like,
Yeah.
They were like no fear defending. You could just go hunting people down with Saliba, and you'd come out with the ball. It was probably. If I did it again, I'd pick Saliba instead of Mbappe.
He was so good that I sent Maicon and Dalot, probably saying that wrong, the one from Man United,
Dalot.
Total Rush card, Dalot. I sent them both forward on attacking because I just felt like I didn't need them. All I needed was Virgil van Dijk and Saliba. I mean, they were just a powerhouse combo. All this being said, this is something new. I don't think they've ever done anything quite like this. And they did it fairly early in the game cycle, in my opinion. Mets, I don't know if you thought, this is what I thought. You might agree with me, you might not. But I thought it was a direct plan, knowing that Black Ops 6 was going to be out around this time. They were going to lose some players to that Black Ops 6 game. Is the timing of it because of a competitive game? Or am I just making that out of nothing?
It's difficult to say. I think the timing's strange because it's 2 weeks into Black Ops 6. So it could be a reaction, but it certainly wasn't anticipation of the movement in the market in terms of player base that we discussed a couple of weeks ago that we knew was going to happen. So if they thought the game was going to hold strong, they were wrong. A lot of people have things to say about the game they don't like, so took an easy way out to play something else, even if it is just for the short term. And then you compound that with the fact that Xbox users and some PC users are getting it for free, essentially, with Game Pass. And that's not something they've had to contend with before. So the timing of it's strange because it was also not just a couple of weeks after Black Ops 6 launch, it was a couple of weeks after the Ballon d'Or, which was really weird. You would think that this would have lined up perfectly if they'd done this around the evening of the ceremony, and it would have been much closer to the launch of Black Ops 6. It would have tied in together more nicely. So that evidence in itself suggests this is a very quick reactionary move, but I don't think that's the case. I think they've considered this play probably as a way to entice some lapsed users back into playing the game with the FOMO factor of it being loans. So at least for that weekend, they're going to drag people away from other stuff that they were doing, because people don't want to miss out. They want to see what these cards are like. And there's clearly an attempt to manipulate the market going on here, because the amount of very quick turnaround in squads that would have been necessary to facilitate most of these cards, especially if you're playing Weekend League, meant everyone was dealing in a very overhyped market. Everything was mega expensive that linked to those cards. And unless you were able to turn your Weekend League around very quickly, the chances of you getting your coins back out at anywhere near the value that you spent to get those cards was slim to none. So if we presume that a fair percentage of people didn't get done till Saturday, Sunday, a lot of the coins they got tied up in the new cards they bought have got creamed. So they're selling them for far less than they bought them for. And then at some point they're going to have to go back into the market and rebuy a squad for this week or next Weekend League. So it's generated a lot of churn in the economy. It's taken coins out of the game, which is good for EA, as we're starting to ramp up to those big sort of marquee end of the year offers now. We've got Black Friday coming, Team of the Year not too far behind that. There's other stuff as well that we're not 100% on. So all of that combined suggests to me that it looked strange in terms of how the title of the promo tied up to what was going on in real life. That was way off the pace. But what they actually did, I'm sure that was a considered play, and I'm sure they would say it was a great success in terms of the impact that it's had long term on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Some of the other things I think we should probably go over is, do we think... Well, you can get your opinion on it. Paul, did you play a lot over the last weekend with these cards?
I went off work Friday, so I was like, I'm buying some cards to link to these, getting my Weekend League done, and getting out quickly. Big mistake playing on Friday. It was an
Friday's always rough.
It was an absolute shit show. But then on Saturday, I just chilled and played some rivals with those cards and set up a new account. So I played those cards in Division 9, 8 and 7 with an absolutely horrendous team around them. And that was so much fun. You know, I'm dunking on most people in those divisions. So, but it was just
Are you
nice
proud
to
of yourself?
Yeah, it was fun. It was just nice to have a mess around with some really just like terrible gold cards and Saliba. Do you know what I mean? So I could have a mess around and fuck about with a few things, and it was just fun messing about with new cards. I think I just had some horrendous, like, still got them now. I've packed nothing from that account, so I've got like a 78 rated left back, and my other centre back with Saliba was, who did I have now? 86 Gabriel, who's got like 68 pace. But you know what? He caught Mbappe a couple of times.
I don't understand that shit, dude.
You know, no, I don't.
This
really.
is something you see a lot on Twitter at the moment, is this whole rubber banding thing, like the pace stats don't make sense at the moment. And
No.
My take on that is that basically this game is all about the first 10 yards. That's, if you're 95 pace Mbappe, that's how quick you're over 10 yards. After that, the game allows other players to catch up. Otherwise, a 95 pace player at this stage of the game would just burn everything off the pitch. And people are confused as to why that is. This is just their way of sort of balancing out, so the people who do get mega teams early on can't get too far ahead, and it does give a little bit of a chance to people who are a little bit behind the power curve. But this game, okay, pace is always important, but it's not the be-all and end-all of this game, because if pace was, as we think it should be on paper, that Adama Traore that came out in Squad Foundations a few weeks ago would be destroying everybody. Okay, it wouldn't be hyper effective in front of goal, but he would just absolutely rinse everyone off the pitch. And over 10 yards he does. He'll beat a man to be able to put a ball into the box or cut inside, but he just doesn't fly past people the way you'd expect him to, based on our experience of previous iterations of the game. It's just very different this year, and people haven't quite wrapped their head around that yet.
I think
there's definitely.
Go ahead, Wes.
Hunter, sorry. Oh yeah, no, I think there's definitely a nerf when you have the ball too, and I don't know. I don't know if EA will ever tell the community what that is, and you can expect that, right? In real life, you're not running at full speed if you're trying to control the ball too. But I think you see that, and that's where people often conflate. It's like, oh man, mine Adama Traore should be so much faster than who's a fullback that doesn't maybe have, like Tomiyasu, right? Like he doesn't have the best like 75 pace or whatnot, but if they're running at each other in the game, and especially in EAFC 25, they do catch up over time, because I feel like if you have a ball, there might be like minus 20 pace or something. That's an arbitrary number, but I could feel them applying something like that. And so when you have someone like Sophia Smith and that Vinny, at the higher levels, when they're dribbling and all, like, when dribbling and all these other factors that come into play, mitigate maybe this pace nerf. That's why those guys might feel so much faster with the ball. But other than that, yeah, and we're still at a point where there's a lot of gold players who, sure, their pace stat is high, but the trade-offs, there's other trade-offs that they might have at the moment.
I think we've also got a situation where people have kind of forgotten what was implemented last year. Or was it the year before, where we introduced like lengthy and controlled and explosive, etc. And if you've got a lengthy forward, I'll take an example, Icon Gareth Bale. That card's fast. It takes a little bit longer to get to top speed, but once he's there, you can maintain it. And this is the issue that people are having. There's almost nobody is using attackers that have lengthy. So they're misinterpreting how that pace should be controlled. And it's all about them using explosive or controlled high pace players. But the cooldown on the pace is really quick in this year's game. They don't maintain that top end speed for very long at all, like a couple of strides at the most, and then the other defending players can catch up to them because they do have lengthy and they maintain their top pace for longer. And that's where I think people are getting confused this year, is we've kind of forgotten what we've learned from the previous game, because we haven't got to a situation where there's top attacking players with lengthy who would feel quick over a prolonged run down the wing or something like that, whereas Mbappe seems to slow down much quicker because of his it's not play style, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, his body style, his body.
Archetype,
Yes.
isn't it? Like,
I've forgotten what it's called. Anyway,
Roll.
it's not his role. It's his
The
whether he's
lengthy-
control,
Accelerate.
explosive.
All right,
accelerate.
Accelerate.
Accelerate. Thank you, Hunter.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
the
That's
one.
right.
So, do we think it's balanced though? Because when this first came out, I don't believe it was last year. I think it was FIFA 23 that this came out. And remember, it wasn't balanced at all.
Yeah, Haaland was the best player in the game for
The
a
best
long
player in the
time.
game. And I feel like, and we know they've done shit like this before in the past, where they make a change to something on some old code and forget to put the recent change and that change. But I feel like it's not balanced. I feel like Alexander Sorloth, I use that example all the time. He will run away from somebody with like 98 pace, yet it doesn't work the other way around. And it's like, because he's lengthy, right? I feel like it's not balanced enough. I feel like they get too much of advantage for being lengthy. But I'm a big fan of the way they've somewhat nerfed pace, like you were discussing, because it creates the need to develop attacks in a different way. You can't just spam through balls on counterattacks anymore. You can, and hopefully maybe you'll get a bad player switch and you'll get in, but it's much harder to do it now than it was in previous games.
It
and I
depends
like
on your
that.
system. I mean, let me ask you a question. What do you think the difference is between a right winger and a right midfielder?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
What do you think the difference is between a right winger and a right midfielder?
To me, I think a right midfielder is more of somebody who runs box to box, and a winger is dedicated in the attacking third.
Correct. So a winger, by design, has less space to move around in, so they only need to be able to be quick over 10 yards, a dash to get by somebody and then release the ball, have a shot, that kind of thing. Whereas someone who's up and down the pitch as a right wing back, a right-sided midfielder, has to play up and down the pitch. So they have ample space to build up their acceleration slowly at first, and then lengthy kicks in and they go full pelt the whole way down. And I think there's a lot of the player base who don't understand why Adama Traore doesn't have right winger, because he isn't a right winger. He's a right-sided midfielder. He's not going to be useful unless he's got open space to run into. He can't be devastating over like a few yards like an Mbappe would be, or Vinicius, or someone like that. They're totally different characteristics that people sort of fail to understand, because they've got their idea and they say, well, I'm right-sided, I should be able to play wherever I want. And that's not the case, and that's where the accelerates come into play. They create different styles of play, player behaviour, but people don't necessarily apply them the way the game intends you to. They just do their own thing and then get frustrated, I think.
Yeah, I would probably say you're right for most people, because most people don't have the time nor the give a shit to go try to dig into this stuff and figure it out, right? And there's a lot to dig into in this game. I mean, there's so many layers with the tactics and roles, and play styles, accelerates, and every one impacts the other. So it's like you could take all year to finally get your head wrapped around a lot of this stuff, and then they're going to change it next year. But do what works for you is what I would say. I mean, I'm no pro, I'm not a gameplay guru, but I do what works for me. I find a way to play the game and enjoy it, because a couple years ago I was in a really bad place with this game. You guys remember that? I was basically not even playing. But I've found my way to enjoy it. So figure something out, like Evo. I'm doing the Evo MLS team. I'm fucking enjoying the game so much right now. And I don't even have a meta squad. So, but do we think this is going to be happening more in the future with these loans?
I mean, I think an interesting take on this question might be like, how often do we want to see this happen?
It can't happen like every week or even every month, but
no.
If you sort of divide the game up into phases, like the opening third, the second third, the final third, when you're just building up to that big key promo in that segment of the game calendar, I think it's a good way for them to clean out the market, create buzz when the game quietens down a little bit. And like I said before, there's nothing more hype than a card that's going to disappear in a few days' time. Like everyone's got to log on to try it today because they can't get it tomorrow.
Do you
So-
think that just sparked something in my head? Sorry, I got to say this before I forget it, Matt. Sorry to cut you off.
Go for it.
But would you like to see this used as a tool, maybe for the big promotions like Team of the Year, to be like, all right, well, the weekend before Team of the Year comes out, we all get a player pick for, one of the 11. Yeah, maybe not 11, but like you get a choice of 5 of the prospective 11 Team of the Year players, and same thing for the women's, and you get to play with them like a weekend in advance, and then the next Friday they come out into packs. Like, would that drive hype in the game? I think that'd be maybe a cool way to use this.
Well,
or
it's a
would that
good way to
devalue
get
the
people
player?
to play with cards they don't normally get to. Like most Team of the Years are outside of most people's ability to pack or buy on the market, right? And the only way you would get to use them is through draft. So this is a good way of taking that content, giving someone the taster, the gateway drug into getting into like the high end of an offer, and making your team, and it does, I think, make your team feel grossly inadequate once you've used players of this caliber and come up against players of that caliber. You want to improve your team more. It's just a natural reaction to it, right? So it's creating engagement. It's getting more people to log in and check it out, even if it's just for a day or two. But it's giving people a taste of the next level. We're all still pretty much on the opening month or two's quality of cards, and now they want us to be willing to change it up. So I think that's kind of where they're leaning towards with this. It's a different tactic on their behalf, and it's all well and good in terms of it creating the hype that they want the game to and get more engagement sort of day to day and whatnot. But just the whether it was unforeseen or totally deliberate, but the impact it's had on the market in itself was well worth them doing what they've done. Like, it's cleaned so many coins.
Yeah, that was
off the market.
deliberate. That was
It's
definitely-
not even funny.
And I think that's what I can
So-
see it. That's why I see it happening in the future. And like, you would never, if I was EA, I would never want to run this on the same weekend that I'm going to release Team of the Year, right? Like,
No,
why would I
definitely
would
not
never, you would
as
never
part of
run it
that.
on. Yeah, exactly.
In the
You would-
build-up. You know,
Yeah,
like
I like
when
it
we
as a
got
build-up. Yeah.
honorable mentions. for Team of the
Exactly.
Year, that's the time to do it. It's like the week before, maybe 2 weeks before a push. You start doing some reveals. This is what's coming. You might be able to get them in alone, and then drop the big one with some unique content in the classic style that we're used to. But yeah, I think we're going to see more of it. Just like, they shouldn't overdo it is the issue, because I think this has created something unique, but at a cost. And if they do it too often, if they abuse it, people would get pissed off with having to change their teams up at such short notice and whatnot. But yeah, it's definitely going to be beneficial for EA. It's just whether the community as a whole sort of agree that this is the right way to sort of go down. And I think that's probably polarized at this point. Some people would have loved it, and other people not so much, I think.
And these timed loans, I think, have made people a little bit less. Like, people didn't want to use loans in Weekend League in the past. These timed loans now, people are much happier using them in the weekend. I had a Trailblazer timed loan Vinny that I also used with my Mbappe and Bon Mate.
Yikes.
I've had my worst weekend ever, so it really didn't help me. So
You think there's a mentality shift there, though, Paul, that it's always been frowned upon to use loans in Weekend League?
Yeah,
But that's because the content wasn't unique. This time,
Yeah.
it's the only way you get to use these
yeah,
is through the loan, and you'll never see that card again, potentially. So then it kind of normalizes it. It becomes okay. I mean, who in the right mind is going to not use those cards in Weekend League when everyone else has them? Whereas before, massive red flag to anyone using good loans in Weekend League. But now that's been completely okayed as a result of the fact that that content's unique. We wouldn't get it otherwise. So let's go. Everyone's doing it, so I'm in.
yeah.
Let's change the mentality.
Yeah,
Just
and it was a bit unfair before because most of the loans that people were getting were from store packs. Where now I feel like if you give everybody it, people are a little bit less pissed off about, or not pissed off at all about using those time loans in a weekend.
Yeah.
And can you imagine if they did this whole loan for the weekend business with like some unique like icon cards that we've not had before. Like the amount of like ridiculous amount of hype that would drive.
Oh, that'd be
So-
phenomenal, wouldn't it?
These icons are guesting into the game this weekend only. They go nuts. Ones that we don't normally see. And I don't just mean like a variant, like a unique variant of an existing icon, but just an icon that we've not used before. Full
There you
stop.
go,
That would be
Wise.
pretty sick.
Yeah, no, I kind of like this. This touches on that mode that I like. The overhaul of draft that I've kind of wanted, of like a select player pool that you have. It's a small microcosm, and I'm kind of maybe I'm taking a leap on this. If you think so, get in the Discord. Tell me I'm taking a leap on this after this next episode. But it is that case where you had 5 picks, right? This is very much more similar to like character choice in a first-person shooter, right? Like you have a little bit of choice here, but at the same time, it's still set, and it allows you to get some fresh perspectives on squad building. Do I want the Saliba? Do I want the Vinny? Do I want the the Rodri? Do I want the Lautaro Martinez? And they all are good in their own respects and how you play and stuff. And I liked that choice, and I think that that's cool. And I do, though, think that it's a slippery slope to do this every weekend. People will get tired of it very fast, and they would lose a lot of engagement with the market. Because I was going to tie in the point, and I mean, Ibuprofen put in our chat, and we'll answer that later, about the EVOs. But, like, there's so many levers they have now to make your squad untradeable or to give you cards that you put in your competitive squad. EVOs, SBCs, now these timed loans, the time loans you get from the season pass, and the other cards you can get from the season pass. So it's like, okay, this is a lot all at once to process, and you don't want to necessarily overload the community, especially a community like ours that thinks that everything should be available to them at all times, right? Like,
Very entitled community.
Mhm.
But I'm just gathering from, I was listening as you guys were all talking, and I wanted to ask you all your opinions on, do we think overall this was a good thing or a bad thing from the game, or is it whatever? But I think it's good. I think it's exciting because you don't have to use them, but if you're going to play competitively, you pretty much have to use them.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they're letting us use these. I do like the new style of loans that they've been pushing out. Instead of 10 games, you get them for 3 days, 4 days, because you can really just play a lot, get some really good use out of that card, get some really good rewards. So you feel like you got more out of it than just 10 games, you know? Like, you're holding this loan because you never know when you're going to use it, and by the time you go to use it, there's something better that's already been out.
You're not building a team for a 10-day loan, are you? A 10-game loan, where this
we saw the prices of the Real Madrid players, right? Like, you saw it.
Oh,
You
yeah.
saw it.
Barca players, Real Madrid players,
Yeah.
absolutely skyrocketed, and everything else absolutely died. If I'd bought a team on Thursday at Rewards, and lost all those coins on that team, I'd be so pissed.
Yeah.
I'd be so pissed. Because a lot of people as well, when they see panic, like the panic on Friday, just shit themselves and sell those cards.
Yeah, even though they've rebounded, all of them, but some of them have
A
rebounded
lot
pretty
of them
close.
have rebounded, yeah. I bought a lot of cards on Friday that rebounded Friday night.
Yeah, the Dybala, I got a little panicked and sold a Road to the Knockout Dybala, and now he's 60K more expensive than when I bought him,
Yeah.
and 100K more expensive than when I kind of panic sold him.
Yeah, I were the same. I bought a Son, made about 100K on him, but still missed out on another 100K because he went up even more. I bought some more cards Saturday that went up. There's been so many trading opportunities this week, and it's just been deciding where that low point is, or where you're happy. But yeah, the cards have been absolutely all over. But you'd be so annoyed if you'd bought a 1 million coin team on Thursday, and Friday it's worth 600K. If you're not a trader and you're either playing or you've bought packs to get those coins, you could have potentially lost 150 quid.
Yeah. I think it's good though. I'll interject quickly because I've been talking a decent amount, but I do like it. I am it is something that content creators like ourselves can talk about, and it did get me playing some games. Probably, when I look back on it, actually, it didn't get me playing more than I would have played, but it did. It gave me something new when I was playing with it, and it did change up my team a little bit, which was good. It also made me very much interesting byproduct. Maybe they intended this, maybe they didn't. Because of the tradable market and what happened there, I was like, okay, time to do this Darwin SBC because I want to put in these untradeable boys as fast as possible, so I'm not having to get exposed on the with the tradable players. But no, I think that it's a different type of market crash that we saw here for people to take forward because it's a limited market crash. You're not going to keep these players. There's differences like in Black Friday when we get the market crash because we get really good SBCs or people are starting to pack players that are going to go into their club untradeable. This is different now where it's, okay, you have these guys for 4 days. You're going to then have to go buy some cards again. So that's an interesting little market crash here that I think people can get into a pattern of going forward and not have to worry about.
As a side note, how long do you think it is before we get the first timed loaned SBCs?
Oh my
Dude,
God.
a week? Next week?
Yeah.
That's a great.
Dude,
That's a great.
I don't
question.
like to edit a lot of what we talk about, but we might have to take that shit out.
You want to give them any ideas?
Fuck no, that sounds awful. Imagine giving
It
up
does.
permanent cards for a loan.
It does.
I mean, I've
Honestly,
done
though,
it. I've done
people
it for
will do
certain
though.
icons, though.
I was
Ain't gonna
like,
lie.
Yeah.
yeah, I was just saying, people will do it. Sadly,
It's
Like
Sure.
usually when
We don't have
icon
to do
loans
it.
or SBCs come out, I'll drop it in there just to get the loan version for friendlies because they're unlimited.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
It makes me feel a bit
Yeah.
icky, like a bit, ooh.
A bit fucky.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the new squad, though, the Centurion squad, which is the actual promo that we've neglected to talk about for the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I only used one of those cards, and he was fantastic. Weston McKinney, I used him in Rush.
Ooh,
Really good
okay.
card. Cheap right now. I think he's discard if you need a nice off-the-bench player.
Mm-hmm.
What about this team? Do you guys use any of these cards? Did you like any of them? Did you hate any of them?
I've only used Donnarumma. I've bought lots of these cards, but I've only used Donnarumma. I do really want to try Rodri. He's really expensive, but he'll be an absolute beast. Modric, I think if he gets a little bit cheaper on Thursday, I'll definitely be trying Modric because that Modric card last year had it all. This one's got technical plus, so I think he'll just be able to drift around the midfield, just pinging passes left and right, and he'll be absolutely phenomenal. But on the cheaper end, there's some absolute blinding cards. Emre Can is like 20k, I think. Tar, he's another one. He's about 150.
Navas looks good.
Navas, yeah.
Renard is a sleeper, dude. That card is disgusting.
Yeah, her team of the year were unreal last year on it.
Yeah.
And if anyone's got any
remember
spare
how,
coins,
How
throw a
much that
couple of
Renard card
Donnarummas in your team,
multiplied.
in your club.
Say that again, Matt?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you then, Paul. I was saying Renard, if you remember when Team of the Year came out last year and it was really cheap initially because everyone's like, what the fuck is this? And within a week, it had like quadrupled in price.
Yeah.
But usually when you see a female card at center back, that's the one place you just don't put the females at center back in this game because they just don't have the. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
she's 6 foot plus though. She's like a proper centre back.
She got some libido. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, she's got some tea.
She takes ashwagandha every morning.
She's 6'5".
Yeah, she's
Those
tall.
T levels are like,
No, she's not 6'5". 6'2". 70
which is like
kilograms.
6'5" for a woman.
It is, yeah. She's got Anticipate Plus. She can play CDM as well. I didn't know that. But yeah, she'll be a beast. She's got Defend Plus, has she, I think?
Stopper
Anticipate
plus,
plus.
I think.
Oh, Stopper
No,
Plus.
no,
plus.
he's talking about
Anticipate
the roll.
plus.
He's talking about the roll.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
But yeah, she's she'll be one. If you wanted to buy any of these cards, Thursday morning is probably your time to buy. And like I was saying, throw a Donnarumma or two on your transfer list. Goalkeepers are always good for a rise out of packs.
Yeah, I was surprised how cheap that one was when I saw that. I was like, that's got to be investable, surely.
Yeah, I've bought a couple already. And some of these cards as well will be great for Evos. Sling. If you've got coins just lying about.
Yeah, you're right. Some of these big boy midfielders. That Lobotka looks pretty decent too. Link with your Mara Kamsik that dropped, 200,000 coins this weekend.
Yeah, I picked up Mancini and Lobotka because I want to basically start rotating my team away from La Liga into Serie A. And that Mancini card is grotesquely underrated, especially because he's got long pass with really high long ball and vision. I think that would be a really good game-breaking card on the cheap. My big play in this promotion is I've been tracking the normal icon version of Zambrotta for quite a while.
Yes.
And it's always been quite high, like around 700k. It got as low as like 650, and then they released the new one. Actually, before the new one came out, I don't know if it was to do with the icon packs that they put into SBCs or whatever, but the normal Zambrotta went to like 850, and then they dropped the new one in Centurion, and that one I was able to get for like 700, so about the same price or perhaps cheaper than the old version. You can get the old version for a lot cheaper, like 550 to 600, but I think the game still has a bit of a dearth of like really high quality right backs. So that one's going to help with team building. It's going to lock down that position for me probably for months. So that was a good area to invest like 700k into at this stage of the game. That's a pretty safe one. And the price hasn't tumbled at this point. It's remained pretty solid and hopefully will go up over time. But that one's going to stay in the team for a while, I think. Really good card. Dealt with a lot of those Ballon d'Or loans very well. So no complaints there. It's up to the task.
And if anybody's running a League team, Denzo goes right into the new Evo,
Yes.
the Titans Guard Evo, gives him a +2. So
He's just
cheap card
as well.
for free Evo, cheap card. You mix him at 86 center back. You could definitely do a lot worse. Speaking of coin for coin Colossuses, let's run that real quick. This is the we don't know what the segment is, but it's whatever you want it to be. You talk about a card and why you're talking about it. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be like you like their boots. But we'll start with Paul. Who's this week's coin for coin Colossus?
This is one that I've not used, but I just think he's going to be such good value.
This isn't a fucking trading thing.
Honestly, for Paul, it could be. Who's your coin for coin Colossus, baby?
Just shitting all over my segment.
And it's not even necessarily for trading. I'm just thinking, like, a good card that's so cheap, got pinged plus, that Koke card for discard.
Yeah, it's gotta be. There's gonna be an Evo that it can put it into. Yeah.
Like, it just seems...
Yeah,
and it is because of his rating, but for 11k, 4-4, if you need a La Liga midfielder that's not ridiculously priced, easy man, and you're not going to lose any coins on him.
I'm going to go buy him right now.
Yeah, it's...
I'm definitely going to buy a couple after this.
Cards that are a little bit more expensive, Crespo, the new Crespo, Aerial Plus.
Now we're talking.
I've only played 3 or 4 games with him, but he's just climbing over Saliba. And I'm using
He
him
always
with
plays. Yeah, he
Ronaldo.
always plays so much better. I love Crespos and when they give him a special icon.
Yeah.
Throw the Parma kit
Crespo's
on.
usually like the
go to work.
first special card I go after most of it, but he just hasn't been there the last couple of years. They've done him dirty, unfortunately, but this one looks pretty decent at this stage of the game it's been released in, so
Aerial Plus
that would be
with
fun.
Grimaldo at left back, we whipped plus. We're changing the dynamic of the way we play. The normal way is not working, so we're going for let's just lump it into the box.
Yeah. No, I mean, link him up with all the other really good Argentinians in this area.
Can't condone that activity. Very ratty.
Yeah, Paul, that is very Matt Meta of you.
Yeah.
To combat Paul's absolute rat tactics, my coin for coin Colossus is a center back, and it is the Trailblazer Bremer. That card has looking around this, I had some luckily I was pretty liquid going into this promo, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to start coming up against. I got burned by Vinny a few times. God, that card was so good around the top of the box against me. I could not do shit. And then Mbappe too. I was like, okay, I need someone that has a little bit of a punch. And that Trailblazers Bremer was always in the right place for me. The tackle animation felt very similar to the likes of a Van Dijk or Saliba, where they don't miss, which is nice. And he was as low as 420, but he's popped back up into the 490, 500. I very much enjoyed him, and he was a mainstay and helped me actually not want to, jump off of a high place when I was facing these Graham Hansons and Mbappes and Vinnies this weekend.
Defender plus on that one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everybody's running Defender plus, which at some point EA is going to have to tweak this to be like, let me use my Bastoni at ball playing center back plus. Like, why am I not able to do that? So
I've experimented with stopper plus, and it literally, like when you go to make a tackle, it just literally stops everything dead in its tracks. But what I've noticed is that they recover really, really slow if you fuck it up. So,
It fucks your stamina as well, doesn't it?
Maybe so. Actually, you know what? It probably does, because my guy's been getting pretty fucking tired here lately.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's risky, I would say.
It seems to put your back line out of tilt as well if they're not all on Defender plus.
Yeah.
Right, that's the
It
ball
leaves a
playing,
gap.
They're all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should probably read more about this stuff before I try it, but it's not fun. Matt, who are you Colossusing with this week?
So I'm going to go much more budget conscious on this one, and because I've been out of the game a lot for the last couple of weeks, just dipping my toe back in. But the team I already had in place, Jules Koundé, one of my main centre-backs, dealt admirably with the Mbappes, the Katotos, whatever you want. I guess he fits the meta of this game very well, because we're not at the stage yet where everyone's running 6'5", lengthy monsters up front. He'll deal with your below 6 foot speedsters very well. Has the pace to cope, decent defending stats, and he does have Jockey Plus, which helps in those situations very well now. That card was like 80k plus at the weekend because of all the trading madness, the Barcelona leaks, back down to just above 20 now. And of course has the ability to play right back as well, so decent flexibility there. I know it's not a very exciting pick, but other than that Zambrotta I picked up, that's the only sort of new card I've actually, well, it's not a new card to me, but that was the best player of my existing lot over the course of the weekend playing against these monsters. And he coped a lot better with them, say, compared to Rudiger, who's my other centre-back, who definitely needs to be swapped out at this point, although maybe he doesn't now. Those loans are getting taken out of the game. But, yeah, very solid, dependable. And pace-friendly at a reasonable price.
Can I just say as well that Koundé at right back, if anyone's listening, don't be frightened of his pace, because I see a lot of really, really top-end players using Koundé at right back. And he is so good. Just comes out with the ball against whoever it is. I know if I'm playing against Koundé, I'll start attacking down the other side. He's just one of those where you just like, let's just not bother.
Yeah. The only issue with him is he's just not very good bringing the ball out. Taking him down the right wing's a no-no. But for out-and-out defensive play, yeah, very good at right back.
Yeah. Who's the other one? Oh, Gvardiol, the inform. I used him at left back and I thought he's going to be terrible because he's got no pace, but he's actually been surprisingly good there as well.
You're on mute,
You're
Hunter.
on mute, Hunter.
Damn.
Son of a bitch. Every week.
It's like
I do
Paul
it.
whacking the
I love
mic
it.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's becoming a staple.
It's a segment of its own. I'm going to transition us into Evos because we're running a bit long, but my point for coin Colossus was Cucho Hernandez from the MLS. I evoed him with Magic Knights in the 100 club to an 86 striker, 91 pace, 86 shooting, 80 physical, 81 dribbling. Dude is really fun to use. It's different, and it's fun to beat meta teams with non-meta teams. So
Yeah.
good stuff. But Evos,
Yes,
we
it
got a
is.
new one today. We got a new one yesterday. Day before, we've got the Rodri, the Bonmati.
They're doing a good job with that. I mean, some of them are maybe not priced effectively, in my opinion, but
No,
at least there's
but-
options.
yeah, there's options, and they're doing, I think, a really good job of pushing these things out staggering. Unlike the beginning of the cycle, remember they were pushing them out 3 or 4 at a time because they had some issues with content or whatever. But they've got a handle on that, it seems like now, and I'm really, really liking it because every day I've got a new thing to look forward to.
Yeah.
That said, there's still a million center mid one. Like it's like I have a million
Oh,
CM and
dude.
Cam ones I got to get done. It's like, hey, I'm finishing up Hey Jude with my Teji 7, yay, who's a beast by the way. That answers that question about what Evo we're doing. But it's like, okay, all right, now then I have to do like a no pressure after this, and it's like, okay.
So much midfield and defending focused Evos, and there's been some attacking ones, but I feel like it's been just favors defending and especially center mids
Yeah,
so
give me a
much
winger.
more.
Yeah. I almost feel as well, like with this stat limit thing, they've put these Evos out there, they're going to take cards up to 86. Those cards then are out of future Evos for a good while. So just be careful if you're looking at doing Evos and you're wanting to progress something, make sure that your stats are up there or above your overall rating, because I'm seeing so many now where the stats aren't in line with the overall rating. You might get an 86 rated card, but when you look at the stats, they're not close to an 86. So I've got a Bradford City one who are wanting to upgrade from an 83, but it wasn't that much of an upgrade to take him to 86. So I'll wait a little while because if I do this now, I'm going to be knackered for a month or two. So yeah, just be careful. And I'm seeing like that Duran, the Trailblazer Duran one, he fits into one of the Evos, but the upgrade was minimal. But I was seeing a lot of hype around it, and I thought for the sake of a +2 or whatever it is in one stat or two stats, it's not worth it. So just make sure when you're looking, check out the stat limited ones because they're not always beneficial.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt to wait. We say this all the time. As bad as you want to go do one, and I'm guilty of it too, wait a few days. At least. You don't have to wait the full time, but wait a few days, see what else comes out, see if you can chain it, build something up, because sometimes they'll bring out like a glow up where you can bring a bronze card up to a gold card, and then it goes into it, and it would have been a better choice. So patience pays with Evos, I feel like. Are you guys working on any right now?
I've just got
Ibuprofen had
the
asked us earlier.
not the Bon Matti, the Bon Pastor Evo in
That was
progress.
a really
at the
good
moment. I'm doing Carlos Augusto from Inter. The obvious
Nice.
choice would have been to go for Di Marco, but I thought this was a little bit different. Adding the Brazilian nationality, and the card's a bit bigger as well, so you'll benefit from lengthy for those down the whole wing runs that we were just talking about earlier in the show. A little bit of a different player to Di Marco, but I'll report back in a future pod how that one goes.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I've just finished a Bradford City one. Got him from a low silver up to an 84, and it brings me so much joy scoring goals with him. I've got a right back as well, Brad Halliday, was up to an 84, both Bradford City players. And I don't use them all the time, but I'm using them in rivals. If, I'm trying to qualify, I might pull them out there. But now, to be honest, they're up to a level where the competitive with most cards. They're not the most meta, but they definitely give me an extra buzz. So if you're not if you're not doing Evos, get out there, get your favourite club, and get them built up. I've seen one or two dickheads doing silly Norwegian Evos, but make sure you choose wisely.
He'll be your Huckleberry, Doc Holliday.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Oh man,
Papa said those Bradford guys wear helmets. He's sure of it.
Yeah. Skill issue. Tell him. He wants to do fucking Lure SBC. He's only been playing the game a week, and he wants to do the Lure SBC. What an absolute fucking redac.
He's from Norway, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Imagine. Huh. Yeah. Well, anybody else working on Evos before we move on to this next very important topic? That
in the Discord, the show. People might have seen me pandering for a Pobega. I was able to snipe one off the market, luckily, and so I completed him. Very fun card, but at the same time, like Paul mentioned, there are absolutely players out there that, their stats look great, surface looks good, attributes look good, but I have a feeling, I think that EA love to scale back some effectiveness on some of these Evos. That's my little tinfoil hat to leave it before Hunter takes us.
Controversial.
Yeah.
Damn it, you didn't give me any time either. Yeah. So, there's a shit. I guess I'll do it. There's a question from Savage Peak, long time friend of the show. He wants to know: would you rather pack the most expensive player at the start of every FIFA, or add 3 inches to your cock?
Man.
The most expensive card at the beginning of FIFA.
Because you don't need 3 inches, or it just means that much to you?
Well, you don't want to be too big, do you? Do you know what I mean?
I understand. I'm just kidding.
Man, triple the size or get the most expensive card? That's crazy.
No. 3 inches, not triple the size. Come on, Wes, don't do that to yourself.
Triple this. No, that's
triple the size.
Yeah, that's triple the size currently. Yeah.
Oh.
Man, that's a good question. They should let us know in the Discord.
Yeah. Not in my DMs.
I want the best card because I don't need the 3 inches. And so, Wise, we have some things we need to announce. Probably one thing, and I'm going to leave it to you to talk to the people about where and what you're about to do.
So sadly, gonna have to take a step back from the pod. Don't think that I will not be just as involved in the Discord as I currently am, which is so much, so frequent.
Are you even a member?
No. Yeah.
He's had the Discord muted for fucking years.
Oh man. Oh no. That said, no, off to some bigger, better, not better. Shouldn't have said better because it's not better. Still going to love to keep in touch with you
really
guys.
is better.
No. Yeah. I some things that are going to take some time away from my availability for the pod. So I'm going to have to take a step back there. Long-winded way of what I was trying to say there. That said, still love this community, love the people we've engaged with as much as I don't always chatter in the Discord. I am always watching, kind of like those people that sit in the chairs. Other things are gonna, still gonna absolutely have time for some of my best friends that I've met, Hunter, Matt, Paul. The DMs will be open. If you find me in the Discord, shoot me a message. But yeah, sadly, I cannot give as much attention and effort as I'd like to with this moving forward. So that is the.
He's going to start playing Fortnite. In case
exactly, I have.
Yeah, wondered.
I've retired the FIFA. Yeah, Roblox. Yeah, that Roblox football game is the one. I don't know if you guys have seen that, where like there's like this Roblox American football game that they have now. That's going to be taking most of my time.
I'm just waiting for him to plug his new Kick account.
Yeah.
My spicy link. Drop a bunch of chilies in the chat. My new spicy account.
Yeah,
well,
he's been given a position by Trump. That's the rumor.
We weren't supposed to say that, Paul. Thank you.
Oh, anyway.
You just doxed him.
No, he doxed me. Yeah, I live at XXX. Yeah, Fairfield Avenue, Chicago, Illinois 60613. Yeah. No.
Yep. The secret's out. You're going to Trump.
Mm-hmm.
But no, seriously, you've been here since the beginning, 5 years ago, and
It's been that long? Holy shit.
we're in season 5.
I know, right?
That's
Yeah, it is
Season
actually it is
5.
crazy to think
I know,
that.
but it's not like a full year per season, is it? But anyway, yeah, it's been
That's
a
a
long
new
ass
title.
time.
yeah.
No, but it's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride the whole time. Very much enjoy, and it has given me, just like Hunter mentioned at the top of the, or not at the top, in the middle of the pod. You know, there were times where I was not nearly as engaged with FIFA as I had been in the past, and that's fine to take those breaks. I took a little bit of a break, but it's more of the fact that this community and the people that I'm, talking with you guys every week has been a highlight, and I'm going to try to make sure I keep that up because I don't want to miss that in my part of my life. But yeah.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, Wise.
It's a very disappointing time, but what I will say, Wise, is that you are a good level head whilst the rest of us are busy screaming about content makers we don't like, or Paul talking shit about getting kidnapped, and Hunter telling us how much he hates the fucking game. You keep a level head, you keep us on the straight and narrow, you have a balanced viewpoint on just about everything, remain polite and studious about the game. So thank you for taking your time week after week to hang out with us and give wise advice to our community.
Thank you. Not that you can hear the click. Not that you can hear the snaps.
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
No. It picked him up last week. It got
Oh,
him.
it did?
Yeah.
right now I have to leave. Now that you can pick them up.
Yeah. I know. We finally got it. It only took 5 years. But yeah, really appreciate everything again. Obviously, welcome back anytime. If you get some time, you want to come in, drop in for a show, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll save you
I
a
think
seat.
you guys have some pretty exciting things in the work to bring on for having this opens up a lot of possibilities for a rotating fourth person or people.
Don't give it away, Wise. Come on.
I'm not going
Yeah,
to.
don't give it
We
away.
never
That's it,
built
that's
the
it.
squad rotation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't remember those squad fitnesses. That's what I really need is I'm the fitness
We,
team.
we need a fitness team now, is what we need. Yeah.
I'm just going to trade the fitness cards. All right.
Yeah. Those
Well-
were the days.
We went extra long this week, but rightfully so. We needed to. And once again, Wise, thanks again for everything. And Mets, Paul, I'll see you guys next week.
It's been emotional.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Stay wise.
Mm.